All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful and sometimes, let's be honest, confusing parts of Oracle Fusion, its security model. This thing is the hidden engine that controls literally everything. Who sees what, who clicks what, and really getting a handle on it is a game changer. So let's dive in. Have you ever really thought about that? You log into this giant corporate system, and somehow it just knows you can approve a purchase order, but you can't, say, give someone a raise. It's not magic, and it's definitely not random. It's actually a really clever and totally logical system of layers that's built to figure all that out. So what's the secret sauce? It all comes down to a 5-layer security model. I want you to picture it like building blocks or maybe a pyramid. Each layer stacks right on top of the one before it, getting more and more specific until, boom, you have a complete security profile that's tailor-made for you. Let's break this thing down layer by layer. Okay, first things first. At the very bottom of our pyramid, we've got the foundation. Before Oracle can figure out what you do, it has to know at the most basic level who you even are. This first layer is called the abstract role. Honestly, you can just think of it as your entry ticket. It doesn't give you any power to do anything special, it just confirms that you exist in the system. For pretty much everyone, this is simply the employee role. Without it, you can't even get in the front door. To make this all feel a bit more real, let's follow along with an example. We'll call her Sarah. Her security journey starts right here, with one simple abstract role, employee. That's it. All the system knows right now is that Sarah is an employee of the company. Simple enough, right? Okay, so the system knows Sarah is an employee. Great. But that's not super helpful on its own. What does she actually do all day? That brings us up to the next layer in our pyramid, which gets way more specific. And this is the job role. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. This role is meant to mirror your actual real-world job title. It's the big bucket that holds all the functions and responsibilities for someone who is, say, a buyer, or a project manager, or an accountant. So back to Sarah. We take her foundational employee role, and now we stock this right on top. Her job role is accounts payable accountant. See what happened? Instantly, the system sees her not just as a person in the directory, but as someone with a very specific business function. But hold on, accounts payable accountant, that's still a pretty broad term, isn't it? How does she actually do that job? What screens can she access? What buttons can she push? This is where the model gets really, really granular. Now we're talking about duty roles. See, a job role isn't just one giant permission. Think of it more like a toolbox. It's a container that holds a bunch of different tools you need to do your job. And each one of those tools, that's a duty role. It represents a major task like process invoices or manage supplier information. So, what's in Sarah's toolbox? Well, a couple of her key duties are things like enter AP invoice and validate invoice. These are the high-level tasks that her job role says she's responsible for. But we can go even deeper. What does a task like validate invoice really mean inside the software? That's where we find the privilege. This is the absolute smallest, most fundamental unit of security. We're talking about the permission to click a single button, to view one field, to run one process. It's truly atomic. And this is where it all clicks into place. The duty role is the task, validate invoice. But to actually perform that task, Sarah needs a whole set of specific privileges. The permission to edit invoice, the ability to view supplier details, the power to approve an invoice line. The duty role is the goal. The privileges are the tiny individual steps she can take to get there. So, let's recap. We know who Sarah is, what she does, and how she does it, right down to the individual button click. But there is one massive piece of the puzzle still missing. Where can she do all this? Can she validate invoices for the entire global company? Probably not a good idea. That's where our fifth and final layer comes in. This is the data role, and it is all about context. It's the great limiter. It takes the job role, everything Sarah is allowed to do, and combines it with a specific set of data, telling her what she can do it to. It answers the question, okay, which business unit's invoices is she actually allowed to touch? But, and you'll want to lean in for this part, here's a really important distinction, one that trips up a lot of people. The way data roles work is not the same everywhere in Oracle. Their function and their importance change a lot depending on which module you're in. So here's the key difference. Over in the Human Resources module, HCM, the data role is king. It actively controls what you see, like a security guard at every door. But in finance and supply chain, it's a bit different. There, the data role is more like a technical pointer. The real control over what you can access comes from the application's own setup, like which ledger or business unit you're assigned to. The big takeaway? Context is everything. Whew, okay. That was a lot. I know. We've walked through all 5 layers. So now let's take a breath and put it all together. Let's see the full, complete picture of how Sarah gets her permissions in the system. All right, let's trace Sarah's security profile one last time, from a simple name in the system all the way to a fully provisioned accountant with laser-focused permissions. Here it is, the whole stock. Number 1, who is she? An employee. That's her abstract role. 2, what does she do? She's an accounts payable accountant. That's her job role. 3, how does she do it? She performs big tasks like validate invoices, her duty role. 4, what about the specific actions? She can click the Edit Invoice button. That's a privilege. And finally, number 5, where can she do all this? Only for her assigned business unit. And that's the context from her data role. See how it flows so logically from the most general to the most specific? And that right there is the big aha moment. This isn't just a random collection of technical settings. The whole system is designed to make sense because it's built to mirror how a real organization is structured. You have people who have jobs, which are made up of tasks, which require specific actions, all happening within a certain part of the business. It's just logic. So now you get it. You understand the blueprint, the who, what, how, and where of Oracle security. But knowing what the building blocks are is really just the first step. The true challenge and where the real art comes in is using those blocks to build a security model that actually works for your complex, messy, real-world organization. And that is where the fun